Hello guys, welcome to the live stream. Good afternoon, Vincent. I'm not too bad. Still very ill at the moment, so this is going to be probably a quick live stream today. Try not to talk as much as usual, but still got stuff to talk about, obviously. So I wanted to make sure nobody was missing out. I think all the birthday antics have caught up with me. But I hope you're doing well too. I've got a warm coffee to help my throat. So we should be okay. But wherever you guys are watching from today, let me know. Any comments, questions, as usual, drop them in the chat box. We'll get over to those. I'm going to go over the usual suspects today. Obviously, we've seen a bit of dollar strength coming into the market ahead of the US CPI data coming out on Thursday. So we'll see if the dollar remains strong or if we do see a little bit of a turnaround in the US dollar. I've been focusing a lot on some Aussie weakness over the past few days. So a bit of dollar strength, Aussie weakness. So we'll see how that continues to play out. Obviously, we're on Tuesday today. Wednesday, we've got some China CPI data year on year. So that could affect the Australian dollar going into the overnight session. Let's bring that down, actually. You can see what I'm talking about. Just through there. Expectations to be minus 0.4%. Previous was 0%. So it'll be interesting to see if we get any kind of contraction there in CPI. We have some inflation expectations quarter out quarter for Kiwi. Not really focused too much on the New Zealand dollar market. I do like Kiwi dollar short at the moment, but I am more interested in Aussie US dollar, and I am in a position short on Aussie. Kiwi dollar as well, looking pretty good though. But we talked last week about Aussie Swiss as well. So if you manage to jump on Aussie Swiss, that's been a really nice move at the moment, and we discussed that one last week. So I'll go over those pairs as well. But as always, like I said, if you want to drop a currency pair in that you're looking at, then please let me know. I think the big data is coming up on Thursday, even on Friday as well. We've got core PPI data as well. The CPI and core CPI is what is the sort of the take on these at the moment. Forecasts suggesting that they'll kind of come in the same as previous. Will they do that, or will they come in a little bit lower? That's the question. So let's go take a look at some charts of interest. Like I said, really like Aussie US dollar short at the moment. So if we go into Aussie US dollar, and the clue was in the candlesticks, really. You can see on this daily chart here, we had these three really low ranging daily candlesticks. And this is something that I talk quite often about, is when you start to see low ranging candlesticks coming together, there can often be a change forming after that. And you can see there was obviously lots of momentum to the downside. We then got three low ranging candles. We have to ask ourselves the question as well, on a downward move, if we're only getting this kind of pullback, well, that's telling us that there's hardly any buying coming back into the market, right? So we kind of retested the other side of the 65, sort of 75 handle, which we've got kind of posted in here. And then today we've obviously seen that continuation to the downside. So yesterday was a pretty slow day, but today has been pretty good. So if you did manage to take anything in here yesterday, so if I was to put back in the RSI indicator, for instance, you'll see that we popped back above the 50, closed back below the 50. So you'd have been having to look at this pretty much near the close yesterday, or maybe around about 6 p.m. British Standard Time. But you would have been looking for shorts around about 65, 57. You'd be, sorry, my mouse is playing up again today, about 60 pips in profit at the moment if you were using this kind of swing strategy that we've been discussing in the past. So that would be an entry, for instance. This would have been an entry in the past as well. So yeah, nice little moves to the downside there for Aussie. I like the idea of that obviously continuing. One currency pair we did talk about was Aussie Swiss. Swiss being a really strong currency at the moment. We were looking at it from a weekly perspective. Nice weekly downward move coming here on Aussie Swiss. If we go to our 4-hour time frame, we look at our 20 and we look at our 50 moving average. You can see that price pretty much remaining within that downward trend. Got close to changing for a couple of occasions, but we've stayed within that. And last week we talked about a potential for it to come back into the moving averages and to continue short, and that's exactly what we had in here. Price came back into the averages. We broke above the 50 on the RSI, closed back below it, and we started to trade lower again. So in short on this one as well, hoping that Aussie weakness continues. Now, because we do have that China data overnight, you're going to have to make some adjustments to the positions, whether you're going to be either closing those positions or at least managing stop losses. Apologies. Managing the stop loss, that could be moving stops to break even. It could be moving stops into profit. Profit is profit at the end of the day. Morning, Denise. Hope you're well. But yeah, our Aussie moves seem to be playing out quite nicely. Let me see if I can change this angle actually, so you can see a little bit more of the chart. Kiwi dollar obviously looked pretty good as well. We were talking about Kiwi. I know Vincent's just said here, looking for short Aussie and Kiwi. We'll go take a look at Euro Oz, because Euro Oz has broken through some key areas as well, but very similar to Aussie dollar. Look at those low ranging candlesticks with them following through. This is quite an important sort of breakout opportunity here. I think if we get the follow through here, it could signal some big downside to come Kiwi dollar. So you don't sound well. I'm not very well, Denise. This is probably going to be a very short stream today. But I didn't want to not do a stream. So I thought I'd just do a little bit of a chilled one. Break down a few levels. But yeah, not feeling the best. It's either too much partying, or it's or say partying. I wasn't really partying. It was just having a good time, family, friends for my birthday. Or I've caught it off my little nephew. So yeah, my little nephew's not been well lately. Yeah, thanks, Roberto. If anybody wonders who I always call Roberto in the chat, it's actually my dad. So big shout outs to Robbie K there. He trades too. Good morning from the Bahamas. Wow. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. I bet the weather is beautiful there compared to where I am. Thank you, Denise. You're welcome. I feel like a radio DJ at the moment. Giving shout outs. Right. Let's get back to the trading. Let's get back to why we're here. Obviously, Kiwi dollar showing some signs of a potential breakdown there. Kiwi data overnight as well, so we've got to be careful of that. I'd just be interested to see how the week closes here. Obviously, big data coming up this week as well with the US dollar, but I think if we did get that kind of bearish decline here, we could see price stay within the sort of channel that's been developing, or maybe we come down to the sort of channel support. If, however, we break back within, let's say we have kind of a bullish candlestick back above the 6100 level, then that's potentially then going to be a false breakout in question, and then maybe we're going to see a move either back to the sort of channel highs, or at least back into these highs at the 63.75. So definitely some things to watch out for here on Kiwi. Obviously we're in the month of August as well, so we do know that we are in that sort of low volume period, high volatility, so big swings can happen in the market. Let's go check out the VIX index today. I haven't actually checked out the VIX today. We're spiking again. So we did kind of call the bottom on this, didn't we? We were talking about this 1340 area. I actually expected a little bit more downside out of this, perhaps into these levels around about the 1240s. We haven't had that. We're starting to see a bit of a spike up in volatility. Whether that remains, let's just see if I can just draw a trend line on here for something. See if there's any kind of sticking points that kind of stick out to us. You know, perhaps back up into that sort of 1840 area. This sort of area is where I'm kind of eyeing that intersection. Let's call it 1850 for argument's sake. So we might see a little bit of an injection in that volatility. What happens when volatility rises? We often see a bit more of a risk-off market, don't we? And that's kind of what we're seeing at the moment. We've got obviously Aussie, Kiwi under pressure. If we go take a look at yen, Aussie yen for instance, Aussie yen under pressure as well, pushing to the downside here. Likes of CAD yen as well. Our play on CAD yen didn't quite come together. Didn't quite get the momentum above the highs here, the 107.80. We've kind of collapsed there. But yeah, market moving more into a risk-off mode. You can see that the S&P 500 kind of breaking out of this daily channel. The DAX actually tried to make a new high here, and it has crawled back between the highs, obviously. So quite a strong sort of reversal there as well. So if we go to dollar yen, we are seeing a rally to the upside here for dollar yen, but that's more dollar based than yen based. Obviously, if you look at sort of pound yen as well, yen stronger here on that volatility. Right, guy. Wow, you sound horrible. Hope you feel better. Thank you, right, guy. Let me know what you guys are in. Let's go take a look at WTI. I did a video on WTI yesterday. Quite a lot of fundamentals suggesting that we could see prices of WTI crude oil rally, especially due to production cuts mainly. Production cuts, supply cuts, less supply, increased demand. Should see higher prices coming through for oil. So, I mean, keeping an eye on that one. What we could expect maybe is a little bit of sort of a move in, maybe some higher lows coming into this area, and then a breakout. That's something that could happen. At the moment, price is kind of finding that 82.50 area and rejecting it. So not a kind of fat lot we can do here at the minute. Just kind of waiting to see. You kind of got this kind of channel in there. You know, how does it react to these kind of lows? Do we get any kind of bullish sentiment from there? Let's head over to EUR/AUD. I'm actually looking potentially for even further upside on EUR/AUD. So we had a little bit of a moment last week, didn't we, where price was rejecting the 1.65 handle. It wasn't last week, sorry, it's the week before. You can see that kind of long tail wick in there, right? And it looked at one point we were not going to see the reversal or the continuation to the upside. Our overall targets from this 158.75 was the 166.75. Price has now smashed through that level, but it didn't look like we were going to get it at one point. That wick there, for instance, was quite a bearish candlestick until it flipped. If I just go to the daily time frame and we just put the period separators on, let's actually go to the 4-hour time frame. So I can just show you that week was pretty bearish until it kind of really flipped around. Strong bullish week the week after. That's following on going into this week. So I'm kind of looking at this market now thinking, where's the next sort of stop for Euro Aussie? You've got kind of where price is at now. You've got that sort of wick coming through there. Sort of the 62.65. But other than that, where is the next stop? Maybe 170... 150 maybe, which is all the way up in here, and I'm only basing that off just by looking at that little bit there. If you go to a line chart, you can probably see that a little bit better, that kind of spike in there. So really speaking, 171.50, I'll put that as, could be close to 171.25. I'll see how it looks. 150. Let's bring the candlesticks back into play. Let's have a little look from the daily point of view as well. We'll scroll back. So kind of intersecting with that consolidation through there and that high there as well. So really speaking, EUR/AUD could be on its way up to that 71.50 handle. And, you know, I quite like the idea that we're breaking out here. So I've been watching this for a little bit of a pullback. Now you can see on the hourly chart, we've got the 20 and the 50 in line. Let me just bring on the RSI. RSI is nowhere near the 50 yet, though. So you have to be a little bit patient with this type of swing entry. Ultimately need price to come back a little bit further. Need the RSI to go through the 50, come back through to give us our sort of swing entry idea for any kind of opportunities to the upside there. So conditions for me have not technically been met yet, but you got all these previous kind of structure highs in here around about the 67.70. You know, that could be a nice area to look for price to get involved with previous price action. Can we get sort of a bullish move in and around that area then? So I don't think this one's completely gone yet. There's still some chance that it could come back. If not, we're going to have to go a bit more aggressive. So the only thing we could do is go to the 15-minute, look for an aggressive entry. Aggressive entries would come from kind of breaks of trend lines, combinations. So for instance, you got the break above the 50 here. If we were to get that bullish close above that trend line, you know, that could be sort of an aggressive breakout entry for a move in, but depends what kind of trader you are. and what you expect out of the markets, of course. I'm happy to wait for a bit of a pullback. Dollar CAD, yeah, dollar CAD could be one to watch. I don't know if I still have dollar CAD open. Yes, I do. I have been watching dollar CAD actually, Vincent, because of the sort of rejection down here at the 1.3125s. You know me, I like to look at the weekly candlestick. So when I see a weekly candlestick like that, you know, I start to get interested. I start to think, well, where could this price start to go to? You can see I put in a bit of a sort of trend line resistance in, like kind of anchored in from the 1.3850 highs there. We are coming into that resistance at the moment, so there could be a spot of trouble here. But you know me, I'm not a huge trend line fan. I'll save you all my my coughing voice, so I'll mute my cam. I'll mute myself every time I cough. Yeah, going up to the daily time frame, 1.3650 maybe. Could be a nice area to look for targets on this one. Look at those highs that intersects with that area through there. Really nice sort of level of resistance. And you can kind of see on dollar CAD, you know, price really working within these horizontal levels, you know. So once it kind of trades through a horizontal level, it kind of heads to the next one. So 1.3650 could be the one to watch. Does that coincide with any of our rules yet? Not really. Price has just kind of taken off. Probably would have been down through these kind of areas here, but let's see. I probably missed the move there yesterday, didn't I? Maybe let's bring on the RSI. Yeah, look at that. That bullish candle there broke below the 50 on the RSI, closed back above. Probably would have been about 100 pips up. So that's unfortunate, but still plenty of time, especially if you think this could potentially rally higher up into these kind of 1.3650 levels. You know, dollar at the moment, very bullish. Let's go take a look at gold. Missed the move on dollar CAD, didn't hear my alert. Oh well, yep, that happens. That absolutely happens. I must admit, I have reloaded TradingView back again. I did get rid of it for a while because I used some of the charting software, but that's mainly for Euro futures. So I was doing a bit of swing trading, and I've reloaded TradingView because just the alert system's good, especially when you've got the app as well. You can actually have, like, it texts you a message, it email you, so you can't really miss the alerts on TradingView, which is something I quite like, because the alerts on MetaTrader are okay, but once you kind of turn it off once, it just goes. Whereas at least with TradingView, you've got multiple areas that it goes to and messages you, tells you about it. Right. Sorry, guys. Ooh, right. Let's go through gold. I'm probably going to go through gold and then I'm going to probably leave it there. Just so I can feel my voice is just leaving me every time I do 5 minutes of talking. So I do apologise. Obviously not the best stream in the world today. Well, I'll make it up to you hopefully on Thursday. Hopefully by Thursday I'll be a lot better. But yeah, gold, we're starting to break down through the weekly low. This is going to be a very important area now for gold, I feel. Do we get that dollar bullish momentum, or are we going to hold at this weekly low going into Thursday? Now, I'd like to think there could be an opportunity here for gold. And the reason being, if we just go flick over actually to the dollar index on the weekly chart, although we've closed back within that range, right? The thing that I'm looking at really is, now this is more of just a technical eye on it. We made that sort of lower high, lower low. We came back into that resistance level. You know, I've got a feeling that the price may start to turn around 103. Now, this is just a feeling. Obviously, that's nothing to do with anything there. But if this data comes in, you know, it's the market pushing prices higher at the moment because we've got a lack of volume, and is it just kind of exaggerating the move higher at the moment ahead of that news event that's going to come out this week? And if we do start to see CPI numbers drop, core CPI numbers drop, then there could be some momentum to the downside here for the dollar. I think at the moment you have to be a bullish dollar because look at it, you know, it's hard not to be. If I go to the 4-hour time frame as well, everything is bullish. Now, my sort of belief is I wait until we get some kind of key turnaround until it tells me otherwise, okay? Until fundamentals tell me otherwise. At the moment, yeah, we're still pretty bullish this market. You know, we're heading towards these highs here. I'd just be a little bit cautious about being long dollar, anything above that high there at the moment, because I just got a feeling that we could start to see price start to kind of come back a little. Only obviously if that data does turn out to be bad. If that data turns out to be sort of quite strong, then you know, dollar may trade for the 103s. It may start pushing back towards the highs here. Could even break through 103.50s. So there is also that to kind of question, to just kind of put the other side of the coin there. But yeah, at the moment, dollar's still very bullish. For gold prices, that means lower gold prices. We're trading through that bullish trend line at the moment. A lot of analysts got this line on their charts at the moment, so we'll see if that lasts. But I'd love to see, I think this is one of those weeks where I'd just love to see where this ends up at the end of the week. If it does end up bullish like this, then I think there's a good chance to start seeing that dollar play move lower, go back to the upside. If not, I think 1890 is going to be our level of interest. Roberto, any seasonal players coming in? That's a good point. I don't know. Let's have a quick look at equity clock. What are we on at the moment? We're on the 8th of August, aren't we? Not particularly, I don't think. No, obviously New Zealand this time of year is pretty bad. Just go. Let's have a look at the dollar index futures. August can be pretty bullish for the US dollar index. Usually finds a low at the start of the month. I think we're definitely ahead of that curve, aren't we? Considering where price is at now, we're definitely ahead of that curve because we found a low back for the middle of July. So have to be a little bit careful when we're trying to play that seasonal game at the moment. This might be a little bit ahead of the curve. We do tend to top out sort of end of August, start of September, before seeing a little bit of a pullback. This is pretty much up-to-date data as well. Let's have a little look at gold. Gold will probably match that in a way. Sorry, I'll bring this down here, guys, so you can actually see what I'm doing. My mouse is going absolutely wild today. Right, equity clock, commodity futures. Gold futures, here we go. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're following a particular seasonal pattern, I don't feel, at the moment. Just because I'd expect the market to kind of bottom out in June, July. Let's have a look. I suppose that is the June, July bottoming out. But usually you see that kind of continued rally. So I'm a little bit cautious of that, I think. Come on, man. Yeah. I suppose there is like a slight pullback there, isn't there? But is that what we're looking at the moment before seeing a continuation? I mean, June, July, August, pretty bullish months, right? So maybe we should be expecting a little bit of bullishness out of gold. It's just that we're in interesting times as well, fundamentally, aren't we? It's not the cleanest of fundamental situations. Right, guys, what else are we looking at? Or if there's nothing more to go over, I will leave it there. Remember, dollar's still very, very bullish at the moment. That's leaking over to Aussie US dollar, which I like shorts on that. Kiwi, really like the short there. Haven't really gone over cable, but I'll leave that for Thursday. Remember, we've got some pretty big data coming up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So all the action's going to be towards the end of the week. Keep your eye on Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie looks like it could continue that potential bullish move if we stay above this 166.75 handle. And yeah, keep your eye on gold, because that could be a big mover if you were to see any kind of drops in the CPI. But I'll do a video about that tomorrow, so look out for that one. I'm going to go before I start coughing again. Thank you for being patient with me, and I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you on Thursday. Cheers, guys.